Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Impact Dynamics Live, and it is Friday night, and time to crack a beer if you haven't already. Although I'm still on the Team Impact thing, so I'm still on water. But anyway, that'll finish up on Monday. Hope you guys are going well. Hope you've had a wonderful week and set for a weekend. Hopefully, some of you might be able to get out shooting. That would be fantastic. I actually managed to do that today, which is a little bit of a surprise, but more on that in a second. Let's see who's in the chat. There's a few crew hanging out here already. Andrew Lawn, what's going on, man? Conservative Sniper, Hunter, Craig, Steve, Brad, Charles. Have we got anyone from the UK chatting yet? If you are watching from the UK, because of course Tiff is tonight has joined us, and he is from over there. We will see whether or not any of you guys are in the chat. Pipe up and let us know what's going on. Didn't think it would take long to be mentioned, but I got a new T-shirt. Subscribe to the Long Gun Project. Still on the goal to get Ben to 1,000 followers. So just a bit of subtle advertising. I'll be wearing that at every match forever, always. Anyway, so if you want one of these shirts, go order one, because that's what I did. All right, Jack's here from the UK. Awesome. Leslie is here from somewhere. Fantastic. Now, I went shooting today, yes, because part of my Team Impact Challenge was to create 2 videos. So, g'day, Josh. Josh from the UK. What's good, mate? So I went out today and just did a little bit of filming with this one, with the Strike Eagle. New Strike Eagle from Vortex. So, had a bit of a play with that, which was good. Had a play with the Leo Photo Tripod. Stage 1 is a sponsor tonight. The last one, Stealth Hoodie, which you will be able to see right about there. That is the new one. They're normally $110. You can get it for $99, but you can also save an extra 10% by using the code IDLive10 to knock 10% off of that order. So go and jump on and do that, and yeah, it will be coming in a couple of weeks, so not far away at all on them, which will be excellent. I want to let you know, as you guys know, as many of you will know, this is our final week of doing this show in this format. We are working on some other ideas and formats and bits and pieces, but anyway, so Sunday night, we'll be back tomorrow night off, go enjoy yourselves. Sunday night we will be here, and we will be doing a PRS bag dump show. So myself, Emma, Birchie, and I think someone else, who we're just finalising who, is going to be on the show. We're going to have our bags that we take to PRS match, and we're going to just explode them everywhere and put all the gear out and show you what we do have and don't have, and what we wish we had or definitely don't need. Anyway, that's what we're going to go through on Sunday night. Then Monday night will be the Team Impact check-in and the last show as well. So we'll see if I've managed to finish editing 2 videos. We'll see if Andy did live stream his yoga. Secret is that he did, and no one enjoyed it, so he probably won't ever do that again, but he kept his word. I believe that Emma and Dave will be playing chess live on the show. That's something to look forward to, I think, and anyway, that's what we've got left for you. But tonight we will be speaking with Tiff, who is the the key instructor for Roundhouse Firearms training, based in the UK, as well as, and this is how I connected with him, was the Precision Rifle League, which is, I guess, the equivalent league over there, and he is the league director for that. Also does some stuff with a new range called Valhalla Precision, but I'm sure he will clue us up about all of that. Tiff, how are you tonight, mate?
Doing well, Rusty. Yeah, not doing too bad at all here. It's going nice in the UK. It's mid-morning, and just surviving the pandemic, really.
Just locking down, and I imagine everything's postponed and delayed and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've got the calendar just off screen behind us, and we better not, but we were going to just set fire to it live on the chat, because that's pretty much what's happened for the year.
Oh, well, let me just quickly write up the PRS calendar, and I'll do the same. So that'd be pretty much the same thing that's been going on. But I guess we're starting to consider when things are going to kick back in. Have you guys got any time frames at all, or really an unknown?
Yeah, so yesterday they started opening up socially distanced shooting, so you can have one person a couple of meters apart from another person and another person.
Okay.
But we're not going to start matches yet a while. It's not really fair on the local people where we run the matches. The UK is kind of a bit populated, to say the least. So our ranges are kind of the few places in the middle of nowhere. And let's just say, it'd be nice to sort of start up down the line. But at the moment, it's I don't know, it's a bit sort of the locals aren't too keen on too many people appearing all at once.
I got it. Well, you guys have been hit pretty hard compared to us, so I think it's probably good to take some caution, but you'll be back on deck as soon as appropriate, no doubt.
Yeah, we're hoping to kick off mid-August and then run through to July the next year, which will be good.
Fantastic. So. Now, off memory, in 2018, you gave me a phone call while I was sitting on a balcony in Darwin after having just been up there for the Night Force Heatstroke Open, and I got this call from this UK number, which I thought, and it obviously was clearly a scammer, and it was you on the other end asking about running precision rifle leagues and bits and pieces and how we went about it, and we had a good chat, and I guess that's sort of how we connected. Is that That's pretty much it. I found this crazy Aussie guy on a podcast and things, and I've been listening in to the chats around the fire and with the odd tinny, and sounded pretty good, and dropped you a line. Yeah, fantastic, man. And so things had developed, but I didn't realize at the time, but you were connected with the Roundhouse Firearms training, which I was aware of because our key designer, photographer extraordinaire, and one of the directors of PRS now, Trent, he saw your photos. I think, do you know what? I actually think it was that that couple of days. He and I went off and we went off and did some photos together and bits and pieces. And on the drive, he saw some photos that were taken at one of your matches or something like that were rather impressive. And he's like, we're driving along. He's like, oh, check this out. And then I think a day later you rang me. So that was unique. And so tell us a little bit about Roundhouse Firearms training and where that kicked off. And then I guess it's eventually going to lead into the Precision Rifle League.
Yeah, sure. So I've always liked shooting. Done it from a very young age, sort of 5, 6 onwards. Convinced the parents I wanted to get some proper rifles when I was sort of 14. Went on from there, got into it. Used to shoot F-class, sort of at a regional and a little bit at national level here in the UK. And then decided I needed somewhere to train. So Bisley is a 4-hour drive away, which is great.
Yep.
But when you're sort of 17, 18, that's a bit of a haul. So I found a nice place in the middle of nowhere, which has Bronze Age roundhouses, original and recreated. So they're actually as old as the pyramids, hence the name, the Roundhouse.
Wow.
And we I started digging pretty much. It's the best description I can give. Got a spade and got a wheelbarrow. And a sort of an 18, 19, 20-year-old pretty much started digging and built myself a 1,500 yard range.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy.
Oh.
At the same time, I wanted to learn about the wind and how to read the wind a bit better. So applied to university to study atmospheric science and geomorphology, basically how the land and the atmosphere interact.
Yep.
And spent 3 years studying atmosphere at university, which was kind of fun. Then decided I pretty much had a continuous gap year for a while, and having everyone come and shoot at my range and going, oh, this is great.
Yep.
And I thought, this is really good fun. I'm enjoying it. enjoying life, teaching people to shoot and everything. And one day someone left an envelope with a nice amount of money in and said, look, Tiff, we've got to pay you. This is a job.
Yeah, wow.
I went, oh, okay, I guess that's what I do now. I built the range with a bit of passion and done the studying, and the Roundhouse was formed about 10 years ago.
Right.
So
there we go. And and you told me before that's a photo of it in the background of the
set. So that's the photo in the background. That's actually called King Arthur's bed in the background, an old sort of prehistoric bit of granite there that's been sculpted over the years. We've got those all over the place we shoot off. I started up running the Roundhouse Rifle Challenge about nearly a decade ago as well. That was good fun, and that's sort of the precision rifle comps before PRS or NRL or anything existed. Took my inspiration from the old US matches that have been going back in the 90s, the Hyde and things like that. Thought, they look cool.
Yep.
Let's do something like that.
Fantastic. So, absolutely, mate. Excellent. And so you did that for you've been doing it for near on 10 years. And then what was the next step to end up with the PRL?
Yeah, so I was following the markets, and I've been running. Like I said, I've run over getting on 100 matches now. The Roundhouse Rifle Challenge in various formats, and was watching the sort of the global, yeah, really global scale, how it was growing and growing. And I didn't want to start too soon with the PRL. I thought that would be a mistake. Waited till the market was just ready. Things like the Ruger Precision rifles were coming out, and Bagaras, etc. They're all starting to actually hit the market. Whereas 10 years ago, there was nothing out there. I mean, it was an old AE or an old AW or a TRG if you were lucky, and that was as precision as it got. The thought of an ACC stock, someone would have said you were mad.
Yes, very true, very true. Yeah. Okay.
So then followed that, and then launched the league. So we use a few different venues. The Roundhouse obviously being a key one. And then we've got a place in Wales called Orion Firearms Training we use, and it's good range there. We were actually going to have one of your shooters come across this year. Unfortunately, things have changed. We were going to have, I think it was Scott McMillan, come across and have a shoot.
Oh, no, you can have him. You can take him. Fine. Absolutely fine. I assume you've seen his match attire?
Yes. Yeah. It's, yeah.
Let's put it this way. Over there, he'll be cold. Make sure he shoots a winter match, please.
Will do. We're taking to winter at Valhalla.
In Scotland. Perfect. Oh, fantastic.
It's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, very good. Well, I've got family in the UK, so it is highly likely that at some point we'll end up over there getting involved with one of them. But and from the beginning, like of your first season, was there just the matches and sort of taking it through to today? Yeah.
So first season last year, we started off down at the Roundhouse. Our matches are basically an evolution of the Roundhouse Rifle Challenge, the RRC I've run for, I say, quite a while. We do a short range precision day, so that goes out to 1,000. And that's your typical barricades, that sort of thing. Very much your NRL, your PRS sort of style. Multiple barricades. Some stages are a bit longer, maybe 15 rounds, but a lot of them are sort of anywhere between 5 and 10 rounds, traditional sort of style. And then that's shot as an individual. You go around in a squad, something you're very familiar with, really. And the Sunday we do long range precision or extreme long range precision, and I partner everyone up. I do a matchmaking service. So if they've got friends, they're sorted. If not, I sort them out, basically.
Very good.
Partner them all up. And they go around as a pair, and we'll run each stage. You've got different stages running along all concurrently. So we might have 10, 12, 15 stages, and you'll have 5 minutes as a pair. And then there's a pair behind you waiting to go in. And they literally have 5 minutes to shoot as a pair, 5 minutes to move to the next stage. At that point, the stage goes in with the next pair, and they just keep moving. And it's this big machine moving all the way around.
Nice.
And it's great until people forget to go right and they start going left. And then you've got people mixing, and then it's... Because it can't stop. Once it started, that's it.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And it's really good fun. And we shoot that out to 1,400 yards. We put different categories in for sort of the up to, including 6.5s, 6.5 to 30s, and then over 30s.
Right.
So it keeps it fun.
And so as part of the league, that is like every match is that format, or is that particularly around every match?
Every match, yeah. So it gives guys a reason, dare I say, an excuse to get another firearm. So over here, I don't know how it is with you guys, but we have to justify every one we apply for.
Okay.
So they can get themselves their 6.5 for the short range precision out to 1,000, and then something like the 300 Norma mag for the long range.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was going to ask you a little bit about, we may as well cover it now, but a little bit about that. I mean, I can't say I'm super familiar with the UK gun laws. I was aware that you could definitely have it. I've been into some firearm shops over there, and I've been shooting over there a little bit. But I know that air rifles and shotguns are a relatively easy thing to get a hold of. But beyond that, it starts getting a little harder. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. So air rifles and to some extent shotguns. Air rifles are licensed in Scotland, but not in the rest of the UK too much. But the air rifles you kind of have. The shotguns, it's sort of almost a right to have. You still have to apply for the police, have a license, that sort of thing. Certain restrictions and things on them. And then the firearms, the rifles, the large capacity shotguns, etc., are more of a privilege. So that's, you will have to sort of earn that in a way. And that's on a firearms license.
Okay, and that takes a little bit of time, and you got to show reasons for having that and reasons per gun.
Yeah, that's it. So, your typical, it splits down the line. It's either you're hunting, so you're off after your red deer, your roebucks, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Or you're out there target shooting. And then you've got to just say, what sort of comps you're doing and that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah, right. And so you, I guess obviously you've set up an ability for people to be able to use that. Is it relatively easy if someone sees a video of yours or a number of photos and go, right, I want to get into that? Is that an easy process for them to do, or is that take some time and taking the skill side out of it, because we're familiar with that side of things? But yeah, just from a okay, I'd like to start shooting this and delving into it.
Yeah, so it's I try and make it as easy as possible for people. It's really quite straightforward. We've got really good sponsors, so like Bagara, like Actress International, that have provided us rifles, estate rifles that people can use. So they can come along and then effectively borrow the rifle under supervision for the day.
Brilliant.
So they'll get partnered with someone and they can come and use those, some from the estate effectively. We're also forming a Home Office approved club. So we'll then be able to have people come and join the club, join the association, and then that can be a reason to then apply for a firearms license. So they can then come and have a license purely for shooting PRL. They can shoot other things, of course, as well, but it gets them the license.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that's cool. It's all good that it's all one-stop shop, because I no doubt people over there are as confused about it as we are in terms of what do I do? I thought guns, you probably couldn't get guns in the UK. So
visitors, it's really, really simple. We have a load of guys from the island come across. Yep. We've had people from Norway and Lithuania and France, and it's probably some I'm forgetting, but all over the place come across. And then we had people like Scott Sadlerly brought his rifle across last year, so he came across for a bit of a training course down at the Roundhouse. And it's really, really easy. I can do the paperwork in 20 minutes and sort of £50, and you got yourself a license. So.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I guess that's something, if you haven't spent time in the UK or Europe in general, you don't realise how you drop all these country names, but they're like an hour's flight or 2 hours flight. It's like within Australia, we fly for 3.5, 4 hours to get to Darwin, which is the next state over for us to shoot a match for one of it, and you when you go over there, I've spent a little bit of time there, you can just go, I'm going to go to France this weekend. And over here, you're like, how do you do that? We can't get anywhere for a week, and it's such a low key thing. It's like, from us in Adelaide going to Melbourne for a weekend, and to be able to go and shoot matches, no doubt there is the ability to do that. Have you gone across to Europe and shot much over there in anything?
So I was fortunate. I've done a few little bits over there. I was able to shoot the World Sniper Cup last year in Czech Republic.
Yep.
So that was great fun. Some really cool guys and real good fun over there. That was meant to be again this year. It's been pushed back to, I think, November. We're heading across. And that's great. We were meant to go to the US for the MDT Steel Challenge, Jake Vibbert's match. And we were going to do a warm-up course with him and John.
Yep.
And then obviously that's obviously by the by now. That was the plan a couple of weeks ago. We should have been doing that. And the PRL is keen to sort of, get back on tour. So we'll do something next year and maybe trouble you guys down south.
Sounds fantastic, mate. Did you happen to shoot the Guardian long range match in Ireland?
Yeah, so that was great. That was the first real true international match, I suppose, of the style. I mean, there's been other international matches, but there's so many 50 US guys and 50 European guys. It was a crazy thing to do. Real good fun. My partner, Rebecca, she shot it as well. So she shoots the Team AI. Didn't at that point, but does now. And she did well. And it was a real good to have a mix of all the sort of who's who. That's Scott came across, did the training course the week before, then
I figured went back across. Connected with that. Yep.
Yeah, that was great. I was fortunate to get sort of second on the international, the non-US, so that was nice. But I just went for a jolly because apart from Czech at the beginning of the year, I never get to shoot. So I'm always running it.
Yeah, can relate.
Yeah.
Nice. And I'm assuming you got to meet Gary Larson then?
Yes, Gary's great. We've got some, I caught up with him at SHOT as well this year. So,
cool. Has he told you the beehive story?
No, he hasn't.
Okay, I'm not going to. But next time you see him or talk to him, and anyone watching, if you ever meet Gary Larson, ask him about beehives. It's you'll need to sit down for the next 15 minutes, but it's well worth your time. Anyway, you know what he's like. That's you go, okay, it's one of those stories. Yeah. He's,
Yeah,
he's
no,
got some good ones.
very great, and particularly after 1 a.m. at shop around the sofa bar, he's really good.
Not wrong at all, mate. Not wrong at all. Fantastic, mate. So, look, take us back in time a little bit. The Roundhouse Rifle Challenge, obviously. Let me take a guess and see how wrong I am. But you were running training courses, or you were teaching people how to do that, and then you wanted to give them an opportunity to put that into practice and actually make an ability to benchmark their skills.
To some extent, it's more a case of I thought it looked great what the US were doing. The old matches, thought that's fun.
Yeah.
Looked around and thought no one's doing it.
Okay.
So I've got the space. Let's learn and let's do it. So it kind of evolved from there, really. The early ones were interesting. I sort of look back and go, oh gosh, what were we up to back in the early days? I thought it was like, we had maybe 14 people, and I thought that was a big match, and that was like, wow, that's a lot of organization and a lot of shooting and things. And now that I don't know if I need to wake up for a sort of 14 guys on the range almost. We're now used to sort of 60 plus turning up in ROs and things. You're over 80.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. And so that you ran that for a long time. Was that a progressionally it grew and grew with more involved, or how did that sort of play? And what are some of the things that you learnt over that time? Because it's a long period of time to be running matches.
Yeah, it's a long period of time. So herding cats is how I describe it. That's the key. So you run matches, you know that term. Once you know how to do that and you expect the unexpected and then square it, basically, that's what will happen. So once you know that's going to go, then you're fine. Running matches, it's great fun. We kind of coined them challenges over here because it's trying to make it more than just shooting.
Yes.
So I like to build it in 3 levels now. So you have the initial sort of turn up, and I'm just going to turn up and shoot, and there's my target, and that's it. The second stage, you sort of look at it and go, right, okay, digest it a bit more. There's a bit more complexity here, and try and work out. And then the top stage, when people get there and they start actually combining all the elements, understanding the wind, and the shooting almost becomes, I don't want to say negligible part, but the shooting is almost the easy part. It's sort of doing all the kit management and everything else, and not turning up at a stage in a flat, and having people and training them up to that level where they can be kind of quite cool and collective when they actually get there. And the shooting's the easy part, really. They can focus on the challenges. The actual stages, we've got more creative with the barricades over the years.
Yep.
We've had all sorts of fun. You have the usual tank traps, sleeper walls, that sort of thing. We've got the old back of the Land Rovers. We've even pinched one of your stages. We've got a kayak ready to go this year.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. We've got a few sort of missile boxes and things to lug around. We're going to pinch something from Gary and Kelly and Brittany with the Guardian, and we're going to do a pair stage at Pro-Am sometime.
Yeah, brilliant.
So we really enjoyed that at the Guardian. That was great. We did the individual the first day, and then they partnered up the top with the bottom and went on and so forth and so forth. And that's a really nice, and it sort of spreads a lot of skills around, and you meet a lot of new people. And I've got some great American friends from doing that now that I got partnered with, and that was really cool.
Fantastic. Who were you partnered with on that?
So I was, as partnered with a couple, I was partnered with a really, this is really bad. I can see his face. I've forgotten his name right now. That's terrible. You've just gone and stitched me right up. Thanks, Rusty.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Don't worry. I've had guys on the stream with me, not currently, I remember your name, but I've got people currently, I'm like, yeah, so tell us about the next story. Who am I speaking with? Don't worry, I've got a terrible memory like that. So.
I just can't think of his name. That's brilliant. But yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah, they just left you speechless, is what you were saying of how quality of people they were.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I thought. We've all been there. Yeah, fantastic, mate. Sorry to do with that too. So
no, that's cool.
So
I do want to give a shout out to Aaron there as well, another AI shooter over in the States. So he sent me a cool Christmas card, and yeah, I've got actually, I tell him now, I've sourced an AI hat for him to send back. So he's been after one for ages. So I think he'll be watching, so he'll be happy now.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. And so I was going to ask you about AI, because obviously they're a UK company, and I can't imagine there's too many UK-based companies that are pretty present in the precision rifle world. I'm happy to be wrong on that, though. But AI obviously have a fair representation in what you do.
Yeah. So AI have been fantastic. Been working with them for well over a year now, a year and a bit or so.
Yep.
And actually getting on a couple of years now, and it's been brilliant. So they took me on as a brand ambassador, started last year to sort of represent their products. They like what I do and go from there. Support the league, support the Roundhouse, which is great. They sponsored a match last year, so we had the AI weekend in June, and that was absolutely fantastic. Great to have them on board.
Yep.
And since then, I've launched a team with them. So we've got Team AI UK now, which is brilliant. Quite a large team. There's sort of 7 of us. Plus Alice, so 8 in total. And it's going really well. We've had great support for that. And we're running a whole mixture of AXMCs and in 6.5 Creed, 338 LAP, and 300 Norma.
Yep.
Also, a shout out to Dave, one of the team members, Dave Wild of Valkyrie. So he's the only accredited AI civilian armor in the UK.
Okay.
So he's spun up the barrels for that, for the Creed and the Norma Mag. And it's going well. It's going really well.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we just look forward to actually doing some shooting. We launched at the British Shooting Show this year in February, and we will get on the range some point this year.
Yeah, bit of a false start to many things this year. We had to we were, I think, 2 weeks or just under 2 weeks away from our first match when we had to pull the pin. So it was a lot of build up, a lot of hype, and then nothing. But I can appreciate that position to be in. Do you guys running like the one AI your days? Is that common to see swapping barrels out?
Yeah, that's it. That's one of the perks of the system, really. Obviously carries through to the new Mark III they're bringing out later in the year.
Yep.
But the MC, we love running the long action. So it's a minute odd. We actually had team member Matt Stockman do a video on that recently on the league channel.
Saw that.
So that was good. Just showing how to switch around, and a nice in-depth detailed video. And we just switch around on the firing point. I mean, it takes a minute and a half, and you switch calibers. Which is fantastic. So you go from your 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 yard rifle straight out to your 3K rifle.
Yeah, so, magic.
Yeah,
that must I guess in some ways keep things cheaper for some guys. Although they're not cheap rifles, but they seem pretty rock solid.
Yeah, that's it. I've taken mine, like I say, all over the place, and they're obviously battle proven in that world, and in the civilian world, there's nothing to go wrong with them. They just work, and there's a lot to be said in this industry for something that just simply works.
That is so true, because many other things do not go to plan. So who else are major supporters over there for you?
So we've been really good with RUAG, so RUAG UK and Bagara particularly. They've come on board, and you can see it at the top on. They've massively helped out with the league. So they're the headline sponsors.
Yep.
With there, and they're bringing out their new ranges, sort of the Wilderness and that sort of thing, the HMRs. And we've been running their BMPs for a while on the range. Fantastic support from them. And linking actually to them, when we were over in Ireland, switching back to Guardian as well. We had a bit of a meeting, and we're working on an international precision rifle federation.
Yep.
So that's which Scott's obviously chairman of. Scott Sadley, which is great. We've got Marcus involved, Marcus Olsen, and a few others, and we're hoping one day it was meant to be next year, but I imagine that'll slip now. Hoping to have a sort of an international meeting over in Spain potentially, and so leading on from the Guardian and building on from that, which would be fantastic as well. So we imagine we'll get some involvement with Bagara there, I'd imagine, on top of that. So yeah, they've been fantastic though for the league over here. Absolutely brilliant. We've had other people, so Hornady, they've got on board, and Bushnell, and loads of companies really. To be perfectly honest, there's loads to name, but they've all been brilliant, really supportive, helping the industry really grow and actually gain some momentum over here.
Great. And so do you find, like on the gun store level, is there much support for it? Because obviously England's got a big history in shotgun shooting and that sort of things, particularly from what I saw, that was a super, super common sort of aspect to it. And I back prior to this all kicking off, I worked in a gun store here, and then sort of around there, I probably drop into a gun shop every week or so. And so I've seen the change, the racks of guns, or the guns on the rack have changed, and the attitude towards it when someone comes in and goes, oh, I want to shoot long range. It used to be a different attitude to how it is now. What's it like over there? Can you comment on that?
Yeah, sure. You're just trying to stitch me up, I think. No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, no. So the tweed, I was actually a gamekeeper part time as well for
really?
9 years. So
There you go.
quite familiar to being all tweed and tweed cap and +4s and everything,
Yep.
and yeah, tassels on the boots, etc.
Oh.
But yeah, so no, it's really good. It's sort of a nice synergy sort of starting to grow here, really. These estates, a lot of the grounds we use are sporting estates for the ranges.
Yep.
So they have their pheasant season, their grouse season and things.
Yes.
And then we obviously fill the summer season, the spring season,
Mm-hmm.
where they're going, actually, there's not much going on. We've got these large expanses of ground. What can we do with it? And so I kind of come along and other people come along and we make it work. We run the matches there. As far as the gun stores go, it's changing a lot. There's a massive drive now in this country. People are starting to actually consider things like mils, and it's not just minutes, and it's not Kentucky windage really. So yeah, people are starting to understand different terminologies, and the gun stores are reflecting that. And I sell firearms, and it's massive change. Sort of people look at something with a wood stock now and go, that's nice, but do you have it in a synthetic? Do you have a chassis? Can I run this? Can I do a match with it? And it's like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So then we've sort of switched over really.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's always interesting to see those trends and how far in step or behind or where they are differently. And I thought certainly England's got a big history and heritage with shotgun and that the gamekeeping and all that sort of thing. Which my dad was over there a couple of years ago and got swindled into being what's the terminology for someone who goes along and like makes all the birds move? I don't remember what he was doing. Sorry? A beater. That's right. Yeah, he got swindled into doing that for a day or two, and I think he enjoyed himself, to be fair.
Yeah, it's great. That was a big part of my life for a good while. Doing all of that, running the team, running the shoot. So great fun. And Valhalla Precision, that's up there, and that's what they do in the winter and the later summer months. The grouse and obviously the deer stalking and things, and we fill in the gap in between pretty much.
Kind of sounds like it's well set up for it then. Valhalla Precision, you mentioned up in Scotland, but that's a recent development, is it?
Yeah, so I got introduced through a mutual friend to a chap called Bradley Borner, Professional Sporting Solutions, and we've gone into a partnership up there, and we've launched Valhalla Precision. It's worth checking out the Facebook page. It's kind of epic, is the best way I can describe it. Pretty epic. We've nice. I don't use that word lightly. We've got a 400-meter sort of baby mountain in the range area that fires down into a bowl. The bowls are about 200 meters deep and about half a mile wide. So nice bullet catchment, to say the least. So you can do sort of 40, 50 degrees downhill shooting at a kilometer.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
nice.
It's like the height of the Shard and Big Ben on top of each other.
Imagine. Yeah. Oh, that's a good setup.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then you can go back and we can shoot in the valley and we can go out to about 3 kilometers. Yeah. So I was actually up there when the lockdown started. We didn't know about the lockdown to start with because it is the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
Not for you guys on your scale. It's probably the middle of Sydney equivalent, but for us, it's...
Yeah, UK is pretty packed in there. I remember someone was over there and they were saying, "Oh, we're going to go from like how far would it take to drive from London to the top of Scotland?" And they said somewhere around 9 hours. I went, "Oh, that's like the closest city to us is about that." It's a tiny place, but there's a lot packed in there.
Yeah, well, it's a good point actually. Until the league started. People, the F-class guys and obviously the clay shooters and things, and some people have been traveling around the country to shoot competitively. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the rifle shooters, it hadn't really, sort of, unless you're real top of the game, really entered people's minds that they travel maybe 8, 10, 12 hours to go and shoot a match.
Yep.
And that's something we've been working on. And you get it now and then. People go, "Oh, it's a long way. It's a 4-hour drive and things." And I'm based down here in Cornwall, and Valhalla on a good run is about 14 hours. On a bad run, it's about 18 hours away from me.
Okay.
So I couldn't have chosen 2 points further apart, really. But people make the effort, they make the commitment, they come and travel, and they go, "Wow!" And then before you know it, they're coming every single event and booking in, and it's absolutely fantastic. We had challenges that sold out for the first time ever within 4 hours. We sold out this last year, which was phenomenal, really.
Yeah, fantastic.
Really starting to grow.
And are you finding what we're finding over there is that over here, sorry, is that the community of people is just such a quality group of people that, you know, do what they can, look after each other, and try and make for the best match. And it really becomes about the weekend away, and then also we do some shooting as well. Exactly
that. So yeah, the Roundhouse we've always had, might change now, but we've always had a bunkhouse, and we have an indoor 2-2 range, big barn, 25 area, which is great. And so we do a bit of shooting, then the indoor shooting, and then the rifles go away, and then barbecue lights up, and the beers come out. And the early days, sort of 3, 4, 5 years ago, we'd have people up till sort of 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, sharing stories and that sort of thing. The odd person saying, actually, I might skip the morning details and just do a little bit of shooting in the afternoon, perhaps.
Yes.
They were just coming for the social, and it's still the same, still completely the same. Although I have noticed is it's got more competitive. People are now 10 o'clock, 10:30. That's lights out.
Yeah, makes good sense.
Yeah. So
fantastic. And so I imagine much of the gear is the same. We're not other brands might be a little more popular than others here. You probably don't have too many Lithgow rifles on the line, for example, but you probably have a higher percentage of AIs. But is there any gear that stands out of being significantly different to what you see overseas, or is there much local innovation with stuff?
Yeah, so we're probably very similar on most things. There's now, as the market's literally, as I'm kind of building the market, there's more small firms coming up with sort of 3D printed parts and that sort of thing. And we've got people like Tom's Targets. They're making out AR500 targets, and that's becoming more popular. People now want to buy them and actually practice at home and practice on their home farms and ranches.
Sure.
Which is pretty good. So it's a rapidly growing market now.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
it's great to see as the reason for it pops up. You know, it develops. You know, you need someone doing targets. You need someone doing that and that. It's great to see. You know, people sort of respond to those needs, and I especially love to see that on that local level, with local companies sort of building that sort of thing, which is really important. Really important to boost the economy and boost the interest.
Yeah, exactly. It's really going well, and it's great, like I say, to have the support sort of the companies over here and from all over the world. Really, they're just sort of, they see what we're doing. We're a relatively untapped market. To be perfectly honest, it's still, even though I've been running a decade on it, it's the early, like I say, the early days. There wouldn't be 8 people, and I'd run a match for 8 people, and that I considered a good weekend. So in 3 weeks build up, you know, out there with the strimmer, clearing all the bracken, clearing all the grass, you know, literally shifting. Lots of people have been down and they've seen me with wheelbarrow and a shovel, and I've been out for a week and, you know, put in a 5-foot, 10-foot berm and just all by hand. So,
yeah. Oh, I remember those days as well. So where does your love of shooting come from? That must have started pretty early for you.
Yes, that started way back. I started off with an air rifle, gifted by a relative when I was probably 5 or 6, and then got an air pistol when I was 10, I suppose. And it just went from there. I'd been hunting from an early age just with the air rifle, you know, taking out the rabbits, the squirrels, and that's probably quite prolific in those days. There wasn't much left standing, or legal, I should say, but just, you know, I really didn't like the squirrels. So. Yeah, that was good. My father was a school teacher, a senior teacher in a local school, a secondary school.
Yep.
So he knew all the farmers. So there was a point when I was growing up where I could walk for 20 miles without leaving land I could shoot on.
Wow.
So that was quite nice as a sort of 13, 14, 15-year-old, just literally walk out the door and just keep on walking. And that was great. So, and then gamekeeping came in, and deer stalking. I used to do a couple hundred animals a year and that sort of thing, which looking back on it was absolutely crazy because I never charged for it. We just had friends come down and help, and
wow,
yeah, it was quite surreal, really. Looking back on it, I had let's just say I've done a bit of shooting and a bit of a passion.
Yeah, okay. And so what turned you on to the precision rifle side of things? Where did you start doing that, or was it a gradual thing?
So the F class, I started sort of shooting the F class locally, competing, and quickly sort of did okay at that, sparring with the local top guys when I was sort of a 14, 15-year-old, and they'd turn up and see this youngster coming along going, shooting an RPA or something, going, what's he doing? I'd have a hawk scope on in the early days and that sort of thing. It was a while before I could afford something like a night force or a lure pole to put on top. And then I'd actually do okay, hold my own against them. Brilliant. And that caught them off guard a little bit. And then they'd take me under their wing and teach me bits and, show me how to reload a bit more. And, I'd sort of progress from that early Lee set that I brought secondhand and sort of trade up to a coax or something. Mm-hmm. And all the birthday and Christmas presents were always shooting related gear. So it gradually improved. I think I had a coax for my 18th, and I think I had a 338 barrel for my 21st, and also my 16th. Wow. So, yeah, that's probably one of the few 16-year-olds that wanted a 338 for their birthday. That was it. Not a car, not anything like that. Just a 338.
338. That's a pretty good option to have, really.
Yeah. And it then having those tracks to land where I could shoot, that's what enabled me to do it. Practice with the varminting in the early days, and that was quite prolific. And sort of going out with that, the little fluffy things along the way away, sort of complemented the F class, and it went from there. I then thought the F class is great, but it turned into a bit of an arms race, which is something I'm keen with the league to avoid. So we have a factory, much like yourselves, I suppose, a production division, and then the open. So I cap it at 1,500 pounds on the rifle and 1,500 pounds on the optic. So the idea is that they can shoot a national event, but they don't have to spend a fortune. Yes, it's not too bad. Yeah. For £2,500 pounds, you can have a competitive national rig, really. Yep. Went down that, and sort of it spiraled from F class into, I had built the facility, sort of still building it, but it's an ongoing project. The Roundhouse. Yes. It never ends. And then decided this is great lying down, but it's a bit of an arms race. Can't really afford to compete as an 18-year-old against merchant bankers. So let's get off the floor and start doing things a bit more active and go from there.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the arms race side of things. How do you obviously you're directing a league. How do you deal with that, or how do you see that going, or where do you leave the responsibility of equipment and accessories, and because what I've seen is there's like a continual a continual development cycle of match directors and league directors will start pushing this way, and so industry catch up, and then they start producing products to make that easier. And so match directors and league directors start pushing this way, and then industry pivots and goes further. How do you see that? Do you leave it with that?
Yeah. So that's always the great fun. Over here, I'm sort of in a fairly unique position. So I created the league, run the league, direct the league, but I also actually match direct all the matches as well. So go to all the different venues and actually put on the match, and it's pretty standard really for us to turn up at an event that's running on the Saturday, or turn up at the venue on the Thursday night, and then spend the Friday setting out the course of fire, working out where the targets need to be, doing all of that. And those that know me know that sort of 1-2 o'clock in the morning, that's usually where the course of fire is being written and printed and laminated. So it gets pretty creative. And so I do get the ability till the last moment to sort of try and foil some plans, and tripods and things are starting to appear on the scene a lot more over here as rear support and things. Yes. So you can have fun with that. So just little tips like starting out with a tripod folded, so they have to deploy it against the clock. Yep. All of a sudden, that lovely really right stuff or something is actually no use whatsoever. Yeah. But equally, the guys that get really slick and practice, they can still use them. Yep. So it does pay to do that. And you just get creative. Finding ways to mess with people's heads pretty much is my job.
This is true. So you're very much of the opinion that sort of allowing gear is a good way to do it, but then having that gear gamed out of it, or maybe restricted on particular stages.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll have it. It's my say no tripods, or my favorite is the floor is lava. Yes. So they can suddenly they've got to actually get creative, and they can't have something touching the floor. So I'll give them a plinth or something to stand on. Yep. And they go, I can put my tripod, and it's like, well, sorry, you've now lost that bit of gear. Yes. There's ways of getting creative. I don't want it to be. I never want it to be too much of an arms race. As far as the open will always be, to some extent, a bit of an arms race. but I want skills to be, the whole point is it's precision rifle shooting, and I want them to actually be able to shoot rather than be able to buy their way in. So yeah.
I think there's something inherently in that. I mean, if you write reasonable stages, you can have all the gear and you still can't hit targets. It doesn't. The gear doesn't necessarily create hitting targets. It might make it a little bit easier, but again, if you write like I believe in very diverse causes of fire. So yeah, you might have some gear that you practice with that'll do really well on these 3 stages, but these 3 you're going to hate because it's the opposite of what you've trained for.
Yeah, exactly that. I try and keep it, so I try and make sure there's not more than 2 or maybe 3 stages in a particular challenge that are not identical, but similar principles.
Yes.
So it varies the kit, varies the bags, and a lot of it is trying to teach people as well to pack light. So it's one of my things that I have to explain. Look, you can bring 6 bags, but you're probably not going to be in the best shape by lunchtime, let alone the end of the day. And actually that fatigue on you is far worse than the advantage of having that extra mid-size bag, having that on your pack brings to the game.
Absolutely. So your matches are sort of field based, and so you have to, everything you have with you got to keep with you for the day.
That's it. Yeah. So you take it to the Roundhouse. We have the central location on the main part of the farm where the barns are. They go back there. We have a big barbecue at lunch and things. But they have to have all their kit with them.
Yep.
So, and the weather, actually, ironically, since lockdown, the weather has been sublime. It's been amazing. It's bright sunny. It's barely rained. It's barely rained in 8 weeks now.
Oh wow. Hey, you're still in the UK, right? We haven't changed countries. You haven't moved to Spain or something?
Yeah, it's crazy. Wow. It's been absolutely crazy. But traditionally, we do have something come out of the sky that's a little bit of rain, just a tad. So we all our scorecards and things are all laminated, and they have to use sort of China graph pencils or permanent Sharpies and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Because electronics, etc., all fail. It can be, winter matches can be 1-2 degrees, but lashing rain, and I'm really selling it here right now.
I can't wait. I'll be over there in a minute. Yeah. Right.
But that's the beauty of the climate over here. And then we can have summer matches where it's sort of 30 degrees Celsius, and everyone's borderline sunburnt and loving life, and we can't see from Mirage. So,
well, we do matches in Darwin. I don't know if you're familiar with Darwin, but effectively you could go there for the week, and you will see that the temperature will vary from day to day between 31 and possibly 32 degrees, and it will be sunny, and it'll pretty much be that for the entire match, entire week, entire 3-month period. So it's we also get some diversity. We've had some pretty cold matches and pretty windy and wet matches, but perhaps not as often as you do, fortunately enough.
Yeah. Well, we actually typical British subject is the weather, but we actually dodged a bullet.
Here we are. Next well be talking about the directions you took to get to go from your place to Valhalla. Because I know that's another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we did dodge a little bit of a bullet. We should have had Valhalla. Should have been beginning of this week, and we actually had 3 inches of snow up there on the day it should have been.
Oh wow. Okay. Good. Well, that's I guess that's one little benefit of that's very much a stretch for a silver lining, isn't it? Very much a stretch.
Yeah,
you would happily have shot. I think every one of your crew would have happily shot in 3 inches of snow currently, given the current conditions. Yeah. Okay. Very good, mate. And any so your any other restrictions on you called it factory class?
Yeah. So the factory division. So it's the £1,500 limit, which to give you a scale, put something like over here, it's something like a Bagara BMP. They fall top of the bracket.
Yep.
So and then your sort of your Leopold, you're running sort of your LRP, something like that is your top sort of pricing point. Mm-hmm. Something around there, maybe a little bit more. Yep. But that caps it out there. I don't do restrictions on weight or anything like that. That might come in line down the line, but pretty much they can't modify a factory rifle. So
yes,
they can put something on if it's detachable and it doesn't alter the stock. So you can't have something where you start getting the drill out and drilling into it and filling it full of lead shot and that sort of thing.
Yes,
too much.
Yep.
Just because I wanted to keep it keep it reasonably fair. And equally, you can't sort of permanently attach an Arca rail or something like that and then start running a 2,000-pound tripod, because that's not the spirit of it.
Yeah, gotcha. What are your thoughts on
Valhalla? I've got to post a profile of the gradient there. But if they want to come and shoot off the ridge at the top, it's a 4.5 mile walk in and 400-meter climb.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, across mixed terrain. That's going to, separate the men from the boys a little bit.
Sure.
Those 26, 28-pound rigs are going to soon be left at the bottom of the valley. Something a bit better.
Yeah, because I've been suggested many times that we should include a weight limit or something on those lines, but I dislike the idea of lots and lots of restrictions. I understand the restrictions we have based around velocity and caliber, which you may see as well in terms of targets surviving, which is sort of the core reason for that, and having some sort of benchmark level. But then beyond that, our open has zero restrictions. It's been that way for a long time. I think you start complicating it by adding weights and bits and pieces. I much encourage my match directors to create challenges that don't favour heavy guns, and then other ones that reward heavy guns or play an advantage to it, so that they can utilise to make people make decisions about what guns they should choose for this sport.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, lost you there again a little bit. Good old rural Cornwall's hitting the line a little bit there. But exactly that. So try and keep it varied. I'm all up for not too many, particularly in the open, no crazy restrictions really at all. I think that's the way to go. And there'll be, also I can mix it up a bit, and people have to learn sort of back the fundamentals with slings and things.
Yes.
So a lot of guys have slings and to carry the rifle around between stages. And that works really well, but a few freehand stages definitely sort things out there.
Yeah.
If they don't actually know how to use a sling, or their rifle does weigh 35 pounds, they're going to start struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I bet that will, and we certainly see the same thing over here, and they get rewarded for a nice, nice balance rifle. But that does look, and I like that idea, and much like your side of things as well. The ability for the shooter to have like a nice variation of choice, because I think in so many disciplines we see that the rules are so tight. Everyone's basically building this gun, and we're all going to end up with pretty much the same thing. Whereas I love you see a photo of a PRL match or a PRS match, and the diversity in guns is quite extraordinary. I mean, they look similar, they're in the same category, but there's a lot of variation, and I like that. I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I still really like the idea of sort of deer stalkers and guys off the hill being able to come down to shoot the PRL.
Yep.
And we had guys do really well. Like Brad, for instance, he did really well with a blazer of all things.
Yes.
Really, really not what you'd call a traditional precision rifle in any way, shape, or form. No. A mag chain, you have to take the whole trigger unit out and put it back in. Crazy. But actually did really well. I think came second in one of the rounds because he's a professional deer stalker, out contract culling all the time.
Yep.
And it's the transference of skills, and it gives him a chance to practice as well.
Yeah.
They know their drop, they know their dope, and can read the wind and are actually really switched on. And equally, I like it if people can turn up with that sort of I don't want to say lower end rifle, that sounds terrible, but rifle that's not best suited to the game, shall we say.
Yeah.
With an internal box magazine and maybe a 3-12 scope. And they come, I tell them to start with, they're not going to hit everything. It's not going to happen. They can have a great time. They can meet some great people, learn about the sport, see if they actually really like it. And then inevitably they will love it. And then you see them next time and they've gone and, splashed out on either a top factory rig or gone fully into an open, and they've sort of sold the car and brought something to shoot, and they're committed.
Yeah, I love it. It's good, and it's great to see that, and the variation that will then head down that path. I think there's certainly potential, and I haven't worked out how to do it, but there's certainly that potential for like that crossover hunting rifle category to exist on its own, and I've seen it done in sort of little smaller things, particularly in 22 matches where you've got just a hunting, like a 3-9 type, or maybe a 4-12 scope, with a standard factory rifle with a normal size barrel, and that classifies you in the hunter category. I think there's certainly some potential one day for that sort of thing, but then it does start to limit perhaps some of the stages that you would normally ride.
Yeah, there is that. I know Rob Ramsden, who's involved with this international federation. It's his he created it pretty much.
Yep.
Well, he did. He's in South Africa. He's working on some different classes and divisions. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting when that comes to fruition.
Sure.
And I think we've got similar ideas, really, trying to fill the gap, so that the hunting guys can turn up and maybe 5-round mags or something like that, and mix it all in, and with a weight limit. And that should go really well. I think there's definitely room for growth in the sport there. And I'd like to see it more inclusive, and everyone's welcome, basically.
Do you find that a lot of your shooters now, either with a hunting or target background for the majority of them?
It's a real mix, actually.
Okay.
It's a real mix. The target shooters in general are used to square ranges, as I call them. So your typical Bisley and Diggle and that sort of places, which are fantastic facilities, but you're stuck at set distances. Whereas the deer stalkers, the hunters, they're quite used to heading off into the Scottish hills, the Welsh hills for the day, for the weekend, and having everything they need at hand, knowing where everything is, and little tips like, waterproofing things, everything in individual bags, etc. So if the heavens do decide to open, it doesn't matter that you've opened your sack, because everything else is all still waterproof inside there.
Gotcha.
Whereas a lot of the target shooters that used to sort of flat Surrey and Bisley, where it's generally quite nice weather, and stuff starts flying. Pretty much every match you'll get stuff flying down the range, and they can't go and pick it up, and it's gone. Moderator covers, data books, you name it, it's out there in the wilds. And I find it usually when I'm packing up sort of half a mile down the range area, stuck in the long grass.
Yep, fantastic. I think we see a little more of the hunters, or I think you call lamping. Is that the terminology over there? Yeah. So we call it spotlighting here, and that's a super common way of shooting over here. And I think we see a lot of guys come over from that side, because they're often the guys who've got no interest in going to a range, but then they see something that they go, oh, that's actually not dissimilar to what I do, and we've had a huge amount. So I'd say probably the majority of people have come from a spotlighting type hunting background. In what we do, I think more so than just straight target shooting. But anyway, it's interesting to see the dynamics across the world.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's pretty cool. We do have a good mix, really, in that sense of particularly the sort of the professional shooters. So on the contract culling side, they like to get involved. And equally the amateurs. Absolutely love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Fantastic, mate. Excellent. Well, we are pretty much wrapped up for time, Tiff. So I certainly appreciate you coming on. Anything else you need to mention, or any sponsors we need to thank, or any of the guys you want to give a shout out to?
I think we've pretty much covered it. It's been great. It's been really good fun to catch up.
Fantastic.
I look forward to sort of hopefully getting down for a match with you guys next year or so.
And vice versa. And no doubt if any of the guys over here who are watching want to head over to the UK when we're all allowed to leave countries and do all these things and all that sort of stuff, so in about 30 years or whatever it's going to be, look forward to it. Hit Tiff up, and I'm sure he'll be able to take you through the process of being able to do that. And likewise, anyone over there who's watching and wants to get to Australia for some decent weather, let us know, and we'll get you out to a match when we are back up and running, probably next year, isn't it, for most of that international travel we will see. So, yeah, fantastic, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. All the best with it.
Excellent. Thanks, Rusty. It's been great.
Easy, mate. Easy. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. It's great to have you on for your Friday night. We won't be around tomorrow night, but we'll be back on Sunday evening for a show that's going to be looking at all the gear that you have in your backpack. Maybe not as waterproofed as Tiff would like if we were shooting over there, but it'll all be in the pack, and we'll show you what we've got in our bags. Myself, Birchie, Emma, and one or two other guys will be on with that. That's going to be an excellent show. And then Monday night will be the wrap-up of this format as we check in with other Team Impact guys, see what they've been doing, talk with Andy. No doubt Ben will join us, and a few other guys will probably join us that evening for a bit of a yak and see what the future holds. So shout out to Stage 1 for tonight. You can check out the new S1 Stealth hoodie. You can order that from the Precision Rifle Series website at the moment, and you can save 10% by using the code IDLive10. And they will be out in a few weeks, not far away at all, thanks to Stage 1. All right, guys, you have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you Sunday night. Cheers.
Hey, hey, pretty baby, pretty baby. Hey, hey, pretty baby, pretty baby.